Firefighting places huge physical, mental, and emotional demands on firefighters. The schedule can be unpredictable, and the quality of our performance can mean the difference between life and death. Firefighters must be ready to respond anytime and anywhere, which means their bodies must always be prepared for the next call. This readiness is supported through prehabilitation. Prehabilitation focuses on staying hydrated, eating good nutrition, getting enough rest, and wearing clothing that matches the weather. Emergency incident rehabilitation is a risk based process that gives firefighters relief from extreme environmental conditions. During rehab, firefighters focused on rest and recovery, cooling or rewarming, rehydration, and replacing calories and electrolytes. Rehab also includes medical monitoring and, when needed, treatment by EMS. To rehabilitate means to restore someone to a healthy condition so they can return to useful and safe activity. The goal of rehabilitation on the fire ground is to recharge your body's batteries so you can stay a productive member of the team. I really want to emphasize here that rehab is equally important during training. If people are overextended during training, then they are focused more on trying not to die than they are on learning. Take your breaks, open your gear up to lower your core temperature, drink as much water as you possibly can. Rehab is a critical part of maintaining health and well being, especially because many stressful conditions come together during an operation. Personal protective equipment, or PPE, keeps firefighters safe from smoke, flames, heat, and steam. But wearing PPE also adds to heat stress. The gear traps almost all body heat inside, and sweat soaks in the inner layers without ever evaporating. As a result, the temperature and humidity inside the PPE rise quickly. This makes the body work harder and increases fatigue. PPE can weigh 40 pounds or more, which adds even more physical strain during operations. Understanding how PPE affects heat stress helps firefighters recognize when they need rest, cooling, and rehab to stay safe and effective on the fire ground. Dehydration happens when the body loses more fluid than it takes in. During firefighting, a large amount of water is lost through sweat, and dehydration can develop without being noticed until a firefighter is under heavy physical exertion or heat stress. Dehydration can lead to electrolyte imbalance, shock, and even death. It reduces strength, endurance, and mental judgment, making operations even more dangerous. Firefighters must keep their bodies prehydrated by drinking water regularly throughout the day, not just during emergencies. Notice that this says water, not soda or energy drinks. Knowing the signs and symptoms of dehydration helps firefighters recognize when they need to stop, rehydrate, and protect their health during demanding operations. Food provides the fuel your muscles need to work correctly during firefighting. Your body burns carbohydrates and fats while you're active, and these energy sources must be replaced to keep you performing at a high level. Every firefighter's caloric needs are different, but getting the right types of calories is essential. Lean proteins help repair muscles, complex carbohydrates provide long lasting energy, and fruits and vegetables supply vitamins and minerals your body depends on. Lots of people carry snacks like energy bars or protein powders and shakes with them. Every firefighter has a different tolerance for stress. Age, physical condition, and mental condition all play a role in how well someone handles demanding situations. Even the most impressive physical conditioning cannot prevent a firefighter from becoming exhausted during intense operations. Firefighting pushes the body and mind to their limits, and stress builds quickly during heavy activity, extreme heat, and fast changing conditions. Now, let's add a little more in on this. When we talk about physical fitness, we see a lot of people that are not even remotely physically fit. They smoke, they chug energy drinks, they eat trash. They say to me, Chief, I don't have to worry about that. I'm going to work smarter, not harder. Now, this is a great idea to use your head and save yourself some hard work, But remember that the mind exists within the environment of the body. If the body is struggling, then the mind is as well. So, when do we initiate rehab? Well, each department should have some established guidelines for you to go by. Hopefully, they align pretty closely with NFPA 1580. We will discuss the basics here. You should rehab after each bottle. We used to say after 2 bottles, but those were only 20-minute bottles and people got 12 or so minutes out of them. Now people are commonly using 45 and 60-minute bottles. That gives them 30 to 40 minutes actual work time. If that's the case, then we move to after 40 minutes of work with an SCBA. That's a hard ceiling that we need to stick to. Rehab time is 20 minutes. Studies show that core temperatures continue to rise for several minutes after work stops. We need to make sure that we allow adequate time for temperatures to reach their peak and then cool back down, along with getting heart rate and blood pressure to acceptable numbers. We need to ensure that our team members are fit to return to duty. Major structure fires place heavy physical and mental demands on firefighters. Crews often stay on scene for long periods, and that extended time can be very hard on the body. It is easy for firefighters to push past their limits without realizing it, especially during fast-moving attack and rescue operations. While the first actions may happen quickly, the overall incident is more like a marathon. Firefighters must pace themselves, monitor their condition, and use rehab to stay safe and effective throughout the entire event. High-rise fires place extra stress on firefighters. It takes a lot of energy to climb many flights of stairs while wearing full PPE and an SCBA. You may be worn out before you even get there. Because the work is so demanding, the incident commander may assign 3 companies to do the job that one company would normally handle. This allows crews to rotate between attacking the fire, replenishing their air supplies, and meeting their rehabilitation needs. The rehab area in a high-rise is usually set up 2 or 3 floors below the fire. This location keeps firefighters close enough to return quickly, but far enough away to rest, cool down, and recover safely before going back to work. Rehabilitation was first used widely during wildland fire operations, where long shifts and extreme conditions make recovery essential. Major wildland fires are huge in size and intensity, and crews must work in rotations to stay safe and effective. A large forest fire requires a constant and well-organized rehab effort for everyone involved. Proper nutrition and hydration are especially important because firefighters may work for many hours in high heat, rough terrain, and heavy smoke. Rehab helps firefighters rest, rehydrate, refuel, and prepare their bodies to return to the line safely. Without strong rehab support, wildland crews would quickly become exhausted and unable to continue the mission. Please pay special attention to this slide. This applies to you right now. Training exercises, especially live burn scenarios, simulate many of the same conditions that firefighters face during real emergencies. Firefighters may wear full PPE, including SCBA, and these activities often take place on days when the weather is very hot or very cold. Training sessions can last for many hours, which increases physical stress and the risk of dehydration or heat-related problems. Because of this, prehydration and rehabilitation must be built into the training plan. Making sure firefighters drink water ahead of time and have access to rest, cooling, and recovery during training helps keep everyone safe and ensures that the training is effective. Many types of emergency incidents require firefighters to use rehabilitation. Hazardous materials responses are especially stressful because firefighters must wear full encapsulated suits which trap heat and make movement difficult. These incidents often involve strenuous work for long periods of time, and the staging area may be far from the hazardous material zone. Rehab is also needed during long duration events that require public safety agencies to stay on scene for hours. Even athletic events and standby assignments can require rehab because firefighters may still face heat, physical exertion, and extended time in PPE. Rehabilitation on the fire ground has 7 important parts. First, firefighters need relief from the weather, whether extreme heat, cold, wind, or humidity. Next comes rest and recovery, giving the body time to slow down and reset. Rehab also includes passive or active cooling or warming, depending on the conditions. Rehydration and calorie replacement help restore energy lost during hard work. Medical monitoring checks each firefighter's condition to make sure they are safe to continue, or just importantly, not safe to continue. Member accountability ensures everyone is tracked and accounted for, so these guys are assigned to rehab just the same way they would be assigned to the roof crew or the water shuttle. Finally, once a firefighter is ready, they are released and reassigned back to the incident. Field reduction of contaminants helps minimize a firefighter's exposure to hazardous materials that collect on PPE during an incident. The process can vary based on how close the fire was to the fire, the temperature in the rehab area, and how long they will remain there. All PPE exposed to dangerous conditions must be removed and cleaned. Field reduction begins while the firefighter is still wearing their gear. Another firefighter uses a small diameter hose, probably the booster line, to gently spray them down, and any exposed skin should be cleaned as well. If PPE is removed, it should be doffed before entering rehab and cleaned right away. After cleaning, PPE must be stored only in the proper storage area to prevent continued exposure to carcinogens. This process helps protect firefighters' long-term health. Indoor rehabilitation is needed unless weather conditions are excellent, such as low humidity, shade, and temperatures between 68 and 72 degrees. Rehab can be set up inside a nearby building, or transportation may be provided to move firefighters to a safe indoor area. When entering rehab, firefighters should remove their PPE to help their bodies warm up or cool down. If clothing underneath is wet, it should be changed right away. When temperatures are very hot or humid, the need for indoor rehab centers increases because firefighters face greater heat stress. Heat stress can lead to serious short and long-term medical problems, including heat rash, heat cramps, heat exhaustion, and heat stroke. Heat emergencies are common in the fire service, so every firefighter must be able to recognize when heat stress is starting to take a toll because you can feel it before others can see it. Cold-related conditions also increase the need for rehabilitation and crew rotation. Firefighters lose heat quickly when they are wet from firefighting, exposed to harsh weather, or sweating under PPE. Even in cold weather, the weight of PPE and physical exertion cause sweating, which increases the risk of hypothermia and frostbite. Understanding both heat and cold related dangers helps firefighters stay safe and know when they need rehab. Cooling and warming in rehab helps stabilize a firefighter's internal temperature. When a firefighter is overheated, PPE should be removed as soon as possible. Passive cooling happens when the firefighter takes off gear and moves into a cooler environment, and works best when the air temperature and humidity are low. If passive cooling isn't enough, active cooling is used, such as misting fans, cool wet towels on the head and neck, or dipping forearms in cool water. Warming works the same way, but in reverse. Heated rehab areas help firefighters rewarm. Passive warming happens when the firefighter gets out of the cold and the body restores its temperature naturally. If that isn't enough, medical professionals may use warming blankets, heated and humidified oxygen, or warmed IV fluids. Rest and recovery should begin as soon as a firefighter arrives in the rehabilitation area. Rehab must be set up away from the main activity so fires can fully disengage from stressful operations. Once inside, firefighters can remove their PPE and take a mental and physical break. Rehab areas are often equipped with chairs or cots so firefighters can sit or lie down in a comfortable position. This quiet space allows the body to slow down, recover, and prepare for the next assignment. Firefighters can lose up to 2 quarts of water during heavy work, which is about a 2% loss in total body weight. Even a seemingly small amount can impair the body's ability to regulate temperature. Sweating also causes electrolyte loss, which makes dehydration even more dangerous. Drinks like cola, coffee, and tea should be avoided because they contain caffeine and sugar, which act as diuretics and actually increase fluid loss. The body absorbs fluids at different rates, so drinking too fast can cause bloating. The best protection is to make sure you're fully hydrated before you ever reach the fire ground. Intense physical work burns a large number of calories, and firefighters need steady fuel to keep going. The body needs glucose to burn fat and release energy, so blood sugar must stay balanced. If blood sugar is too high, a firefighter may feel sluggish. If it's too low, they may feel weak. Carbohydrates are converted into glucose and are an important part of a balanced diet. Proteins help grow and repair tissues, and fats provide energy and protect vital organs. Sugar is absorbed quickly, but simple sugars can cause insulin spikes to actually lower blood glucose levels and reduce energy. During rehab, firefighters should refuel based on the incident. Short duration calls may only require low sugar, high protein sports bars, while extended operations call for a more complete meal. A proper balance of carbohydrates, protein, and fats helps maintain strong and steady energy levels. Medical monitoring is a critical part of rehabilitation because it helps identify dangerous health problems early. Firefighters should have their vital signs checked, including heart rate, breathing rate, blood pressure, temperature, oxygen levels, and carbon monoxide exposure. If any vital signs are abnormal when a firefighter enters rehab, they must be reevaluated before returning to work. Firefighters also need to be assessed for signs of illness or injury, such as chest pain, weakness, dizziness, shortness of breath, headache, cramps, or changes in mental status, behavior, speech, or walking. Abnormal body temperature is another big warning sign. Member accountability is an important part of rehabilitation. Crews should enter and leave rehab together to maintain crew integrity and make fireground accountability easier to manage. This also ensures every firefighter receives the rehab they need. If one member cannot return to duty, the incident commander must decide how the crew will move forward. Once firefighters have rested, rehydrated, refueled, and passed medical checks, they can be released from rehab and reassigned to active duty. This is the final step in the rehab process. Firefighters may return to the same job they were doing before rehab or be assigned to a different task depending on the current needs of the incident. The main goal of every firefighting team is to save lives first and protect property second. Safety begins with each firefighter. Your first responsibility is to take care of yourself, your second is to take care of your crew, your third is to take care of the people involved in the incident. To do this well, you must know your own limits, recognize when you need rehabilitation. Regular rehab helps firefighters accomplish more work during an incident and reduces the risk of stress-related injuries and death. Taking responsibility for your own health keeps the entire team safer and stronger. The last thing I want to talk about is who's going to perform this rehab. We talked about amounts of time, requirements of what you will do while in rehab, and medical monitoring, but someone has to perform these tasks. You may live in an area where you are fortunate enough to have a dedicated rehab crew available. In many places, there is an ambulance on scene to watch over people as they move in and out of rehab. This may even be a self-serve operation where you go hang out for a bit with the crew under a nearby tree. In a small rural area, however, you may see rehab delivered in a different way. Back in Chapter 1, I told you to memorize a slide. On that slide, we talked about a person walking around handing out water bottles, being the most valuable person on the scene. Small towns don't have the equipment or personnel to dedicate to rehab, even if they know they need to. We often find a citizen showing up with drinks and sandwiches and passing them out to the firefighters while the incident is still taking place. If you have a person like this in your community, make sure you show them how much they are truly appreciated. If you have any questions or comments about this, please feel free to reach out to myself or one of your other instructors. I thank you for your time.